12 celebrities that Queen Elizabeth II just couldn't stand. If you think being a royal comes with constantly being surrounded by people you like, that isn't the case. Sometimes being a royal means facing people you absolutely despise and still maintaining your best etiquette. Her Excellency, the late Queen Elizabeth, was no different. Being the longest-reigning monarch in world history, she interacted with dignitaries and celebrities regularly. While most of them were quite pleasing to her, there were a few whom the late Queen absolutely didn't want to see. In this video, we'll bring you 12 such celebrities who the late Queen just couldn't stand. The list is quite shocking to say the least. Watch and see for yourself. Number 1. Donald Trump. There are a few people in the world who actually like Trump. Yes, he won the presidency, but apart from his staunch voters, nobody seemed to really enjoy his mannerisms and behavior too much. The same was the case with the late Queen. When Trump visited Buckingham Palace in 2018 as the President of the United States, the royal staff was taken aback by his childish tantrums and absolute disrespect of the royal protocol. First of all, he was late for his meeting with the Queen, which was seen as quite disrespectful. And just when the British crowd thought things couldn't go any worse, he made a colossal error. While strolling past the family and officials during the media round, Trump was seen surpassing the aged Queen and walking ahead of her. This act was a big no-no in the eyes of the British crowd, who quickly pointed out their displeasure. They perceived Trump's action as being deliberately done to embarrass the Queen. Meanwhile, the late Queen was furious at the then-president, if reports were to be believed. She displayed her disapproval of Trump when she appeared wearing a brooch gifted to her by the former U.S. President Barack Obama and his wife Michelle. Not a good sign for any visiting dignitary when your host shows their support for your predecessor and political rival. Number 2. Mick Jagger. Mick Jagger, the Rolling Stones frontman, has made many ladies swoon during his career. However, the late Queen Elizabeth wasn't one of them. It wasn't because of his music or his behavior, though. The late Queen had a different problem with Jagger. The major problem she had was Jagger's fascination with Princess Margaret. Or maybe it was also that this fascination was reciprocated. Whatever it was, the Queen didn't want any scandals in her family. She never approved of Jagger and Margaret's closeness. Plus, she also deemed Jagger as anti-establishment. She even refused to personally present the knighthood to him in 2003 as she didn't find him worthy enough of the honor. Number 3. Lady Diana. Who hasn't heard of Lady Diana, the people's princess? Diana was the people's favorite and was the first choice for being the wife of the current King Charles III, who was the Prince of Wales at the time. She was chosen by the late Queen Elizabeth herself. However, the late Queen's love for her quickly declined once Diana set foot in Buckingham Palace. For starters, Diana was everything that the royal family wasn't. She was too emotional and sincere for a royal. She even had ways of bringing up her children that differed from royal tradition. The late Queen disapproved of her in many ways, which started the trouble between them. After Diana's much-publicized divorce from Prince Charles, Diana published her biography in 1992. The late Queen wasn't happy at all with the private details of the royal household being discussed in public. The late Queen also had a rather cold reaction when Diana died in an unfortunate car crash 1 year after her divorce. This only strengthened the claims that no love was lost between the pair. Number 4. Margaret Thatcher. Being of the same age and political stature, it might be convenient to think that the Iron Lady and the late Queen would be close friends or at least amiable colleagues. However, the relationship between Iron Lady Thatcher and the late Queen was strained, to say the least. Both ladies had very different opinions about running Great Britain, which gave rise to several disputes between them. While they displayed mutual respect in public, they were almost always at odds due to their opposing political views. Thatcher wasn't so fond of the Commonwealth, while it mattered a lot for the Queen. Their relationship went to an all-time low in 1986 when Thatcher refused to impose sanctions on South Africa at the height of the apartheid. The Queen saw this decision as undermining her authority. Number 5. Xi Jinping. Leaders of Western countries and China have always had tension between them, especially in recent years, and the late Queen was no exception. When Xi Jinping visited Buckingham Palace in 2015, the Queen found his behavior rude, so much so that her displeasure was caught on camera. Now, this might have been due to the huge cultural differences between the two leaders. Still, if an expert communicator like the Queen finds you rude, you must have done something. Number 6. Boris Johnson. Maintaining good relations with the monarchy can be challenging for a British Prime Minister, especially when you are as outspoken as Boris Johnson was. Shortly after meeting the Queen for the first time in 2019, Johnson divulged details of his talk with her. According to him, the Queen wanted to know why anybody would want to become the Prime Minister. This statement didn't sit well with the royal family. Both leaders even had contrasting views about Brexit. While Johnson was a staunch supporter, the late Queen didn't want it to happen. Johnson later threw the Queen into quite an unpleasant position by demanding Parliament to be shut down for weeks, preventing a veto on a no-deal Brexit, which further strained their relations. Number 7. Camilla Parker Bowles. It's always challenging to become a daughter-in-law in the royal family, more so if you come into the family under difficult circumstances. The present King Charles III, who was the Prince of Wales at the time, had always loved Camilla and wanted to marry her. But the late Queen denounced the marriage as she didn't find Bowles a good match for her son and chose Diana instead. However, their love survived even during his marriage to Diana, and they finally got married in 2005. The Queen and Prince Philip did not attend the ceremony. The late Queen despised Bowles all of her life, even calling her wicked at one point. Number 8. Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle was another example of a not-so-perfect daughter-in-law for the late Queen. Ever since Markle started seeing Prince Harry, the late Queen didn't like her. According to the late Queen, there was nothing in Markle to allow her to become the Duchess of Sussex, a title she eventually renounced, much to the dismay of the Queen. Firstly, Markle had been married once before her marriage to Harry, something the royals frowned upon. Secondly, she had been an actress, which brought unnecessary limelight to the royal family. Moreover, the Queen never approved of Markle's ways, as she seemed to be on a path to becoming another people's princess, much like her late mother-in-law, Lady Diana. Markle not only distanced herself and Harry from the royal family, but she also spilled the beans about the inner workings of the royal family in her interview with Oprah. Number 9. Marilyn Monroe. The people's darling Marilyn Monroe was in the UK for several months shortly after Elizabeth's coronation. Due to her celebrity status, she was invited to the Royal Command performance, but there was trouble with Monroe's choice of dress for the event. Monroe, being Monroe, showed up at the gala with a one-piece, low-cut dress, but this didn't sit too well with the Queen, who found it to be in poor taste for what was meant to be an elegant affair. Although the world was going gaga over Monroe, the Queen wasn't too fond of her after that incident. Number 10. Lady Gaga. Like Monroe, the Queen couldn't quite understand Lady Gaga's dress when the singer met her at an event in 2009. Gaga was dressed in a red Elizabethan gown which bewildered the late Queen. Although there isn't much known about the incident, it seems the Queen didn't quite like it. Number 11. Oprah Winfrey. It was not Oprah's fault that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle chose to express their feelings in a no-holds-barred interview after exiting the royal family. She was only doing her job. However, this didn't sit too well with the Queen, who couldn't stand the sight of Oprah Winfrey after that. Number 12. Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis was one of the most charming first ladies ever to grace the White House. However, her charm could have worked better on the late Queen. The problem started in 1961 when the Kennedy couple visited Buckingham Palace and allegedly made some harsh comments about the appearance of the palace and the late Queen herself. Onassis found the Queen's attire modest and not in line with the latest fashion, while to her, the palace seemed outdated and worn out. The traditional Queen did not appreciate the glamorous American, with her theatrical style and command of the media. Both the ladies maintained a complex and suspicious attitude towards each other throughout the visit and after it ended. Of course, pleasing the late Queen wasn't everybody's cup of tea. While everybody tried to be in the late Queen's good books, only some succeeded. The traditional Queen was a bit harsh towards a few people, but she enjoyed popular support throughout her life. She was indeed the most recognized monarch in recent history. What do you think about these people? Do tell us in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video, then press the like button. And remember to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon to enable notifications. We will be back soon with yet another exciting video. Thanks for watching.